Hello, everybody. This is Shane R. Monroe. You're in the passenger seat with me. It's Passenger Seat Radio. Monday, March 31st, 2025. You are on my 13-mile commute home. Welcome to the show. Well, I still have not tightened up my phone, so I'm going to have to give you a weird angle here. Maybe it'll stay up if I put it like that. Yeah, I guess I just got to I need to throw a Phillips head screwdriver into my bag. But hey, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. It is Monday. God, for sure it's Monday. The weekend, we still have we've got the new puppy, and the new puppy is just not being very cooperative when it comes to letting us sleep. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to start sleeping more, I think. Hey now, Alex J. Lopez in the house. I'm going to have to start taking naps or something when there's no dog. Hopefully she'll break out of that before too long. And, so anyway, so I'm kind of tired still. And, so it was standard Monday in the office, nothing exciting. So yeah, Reacher, I'm starting to run out of shows. What's the breed on the puppy? We know there's a little Chihuahua in there, but we don't know what the other piece is. To me, it looks like a lab, which is kind of crazy, a Chihuahua lab. That's what I see when my phone sits up. But I don't know. I mean, I'll post a picture in the Discord if anybody actually wants to see the puppy, and maybe one of you guys can figure it out. But yeah, anyway, so son of a bitch, this is gonna piss me off. Maybe I can get this. I really need. I wonder if I can stop somewhere and get a screwdriver. Anyway, so my weekend. Well, let's wrap up the week, shall we? Reacher is over. I mean, I can't believe 8 episodes just gone like that. Excellent ending, very satisfying season. I'm very pleased. If you're not watching Reacher, I recommend going back and watching the whole series so far. It's very, very good. I'm a big fan. Let's see. Dr. Odyssey was interesting this week. So for those of you who don't watch Dr. Odyssey, and I don't blame you if you don't, there we go. Maybe I can keep it from tilt if I go like that. Maybe. Okay, let's see what that does. So Dr. Odyssey is sort of like a House MD meets the Love Boat, for lack of a better way to sum it up. So every episode, so there's constant running storylines, right? But like every episode is sort of standalone, just like Love Boat was, right? It's this, you get the crew and their situations and all that. But then you get new celebrity guests every single episode. And usually they are themed. They're themed cruises. So there might be like a scavenger hunt cruise. Anyway, there's all sorts of things. But this last week was a cougar cruise. So a lot of the older ladies of earlier television got an opportunity. Donna Mills was on there. I can't remember who else there was, but of course the one that struck me the most, because time is a very, very cruel mistress, Jaclyn Smith, who I haven't seen do anything in maybe better part of a decade. I will say, without a doubt, that Jaclyn Smith in her heyday was probably one of the most beautiful women to ever walk the earth. And for those of you who know of her in her heyday, probably agree with me. I'd say top 10. Anyway, so she's on there. She's one of the cougars. She's got like some twink looking guy with her who happens to like cougars, Anyway, I won't spoil the story, but it was very much like, holy shit, is that who I think it is? And I looked and I waited, and then eventually it's like, oh my God, it is. It's Jaclyn Smith. Damn, that is cruel. That is a cruel thing to do to such a beautiful woman. Man, I'm so glad I'm a dude. guys supposedly, except for me, get better looking as they age. That's what they say. I'm sure there's a tipping point in there. I mean, George Clooney seems to be doing okay. That fucker's like 80 years old now. So good for him, first off. But yeah, boy, whew, rough seas there. Shania Twain was on there as the captain's love interest. I thought I knew what Shania Twain looked like. Apparently I didn't. All right, so enough of the Dr. Odyssey thing. It was just something that struck me like, damn, I cannot believe such a beautiful woman has fallen so far. But listen, it's what it is. So yeah, and then of course the last of the 3 shows that I'm watching on a weekly basis is Dark Winds. Hopefully, Alex, you're caught up. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's also been excellent this season. We're starting to finally getting some backstory on how the show opened, which was very strange. What's with all this fucking traffic? God damn, I'm out early. This is how you get rear-ended. Go ahead. This is how you get rear-ended by a semi. People not letting you in. All right, hang on. What the hell? It's never this busy right here. I can only imagine what it's going to be up the road. I don't know why. There's no stalled cars or anything. It's so strange. Anyway, yeah, Dark Winds was really good. So that kind of rounded it out. So what I did do all fucking weekend long, and it's a huge monkey on my back right now, is a game, it's about a year old, called Enshrouded. Now, over the weekend, I did like a 45-minute live stream. If you really want to see the game loop, see the mechanics, all that shit, you can see it there. But it is a crafting, survival, base building kind of game, which, you know, right up my alley. And you can see the influences of many games like Valheim, The Forest, Pal World's got a little Pal World feel in there. So listen, steal from the best. That's what I say if you're going to do it. So yeah. So it's you know, craft your base, gather shit, build build things that let you build other things that let you build other things. But what sort of makes this one different than a lot of them is there's a lot of stuff to do. Now, on a lot of these games, like let's say The Forest, right? There's an overall story arc. You're supposed to find your son, right? And you do. I mean, there's an end game to The Forest. A lot of people don't know that. But in this game, there's like so much shit to do, and yeah, some of it's fetch questing, some of it is doing this, some of it's doing that, some of it's discovering this area, bringing people back here, whatever, right? So there is some rut and rinse to it, but there's sort of like not cathedrals, like cauldrons, sort of like from Horizon Zero Dawn. So you'll just be running around the countryside and do you enjoy any competitive gaming? Not really. I am a PvE kind of guy. And there's a simple rule for that, right? I am a controller player. Most competitive gaming, if you're not mouse and keyboard, you're not very competitive. But I'm not willing to change that. So I do the best that I can. My competitive games are basically team shooters, you know. So I play Overwatch, I play Marvel Rivals, Paladins back in the day when it was around. I don't really care. I don't like playing against other people. Yeah, okay, Call of Duty when it didn't suck. Yeah, I do enjoy Call of Duty. But again, it's hard to be really competitive when there's not any sort of control-based matchmaking or anything like that. Fortunately, the gyro fills in some gaps, but I'm really not interested in playing with other people, largely because people are kind of assholes, to be honest with you. I never play with chat turned on for like Call of Duty because it's just a cesspool. Man, if anything would turn you away from playing with other people, play in VR. Get a VR headset and play shit in VR. Lunatics, kids, lunatics, people with no lives, just plain assholes. Now, that's not saying they're all assholes, just saying a lot of them are. So if I didn't already have a dislike for competitive playing games, VR definitely put the last nail in that fucking coffin. But yeah, so I managed from Friday evening until Sunday night, I managed to log 24 hours of gameplay on Enshrouded. So it takes a lot to hook my ass like that. And I remember I bought it when it first came out because it totally sounded like my bag. But on the Steam Deck, it ran like complete ass. I mean, like shit. And you know, the game has dark areas, enshrouded areas, shrouds. And so if you're not playing with some high resolution, it's really hard to see. Yeah, I hate that. How did I get that back up? Get back up here. Damn it, live chat. There we go. Nope, don't like MMOs. No, don't like those. I don't like any game really where I have to rely on other people. And I don't like games that require 4 players to play. That's just me. I'm just not a fan. I managed to slip out of EverQuest and World of Warcraft. It's not for me. I don't like loot shooters. I don't like loot games. I don't like extraction shooters. I'm very, very picky. You wouldn't know it, but I'm extraordinarily picky. I don't like most gaming, honestly. But every now and then, it seems like there's some sort of a niche that I can get into and enjoy. So the survival crafting thing, most of the time it works for me. Just depends on how convoluted the crafting is. But yeah, anyway. So I managed to play a buttload of Enshrouded. I didn't get any videos done this weekend. I felt terrible about it. But listen, I gotta have some downtime too. I got like 4 videos in the hopper to do though, so it's not like I have lack of content. Let's see, what else did I do? I really didn't do much this weekend. That's the scary part. I did find a neat tool. Now, Chad, good friend of the show, good friend of mine, friend of the channel, he's off in Rome at the Colosseum or some shit right now. Paladins, Marvel Rivals, and Overwatch. How does that go usually? What do you mean by that? How does that go? I'm not sure of the question. But Chad, I was talking in our private chat with me and my friends, and I was mentioning a tool I ran across. Now, this is a very esoteric tool for an esoteric use case, but I thought it was worth I have not seen Breakout Beyond yet. I know Gen X Gamer has done some reviews of it. I was going to look, but I didn't get around to it. Team-based gameplay, unranked casual. Okay, so in the old days, I would play with my friends. So, like back in the 360 days when we were playing Call of Duty, there would be 5 or 6 of us. So we might have a full team of friends. That's a little more fun to me. You're not relying on randos. You're not relying on people doing their own fucking thing that only have their own interest in mind. And you can get on comms with people that aren't saying the N-word and the F-word every 2 seconds, that aren't streaming fucking shitty music in their microphone the whole time you're playing. It's a different story when Xbox. I prefer PC gaming, but if I had to have a console, it'd be an Xbox. I'm not a PlayStation fan. So yeah. 9 Souls, it's a Metrovania. Metrovanias, they have to do something just right to get me. Like the new Prince of Persia game, I think I talked about that. I enjoyed that. That's a Metrovania style. I kind of liked Samus Returns. That was kind of fun. But for the most part, I used to be a lot more into the platformers and stuff like that. PSP handheld. Maybe just got one of those, or mostly a controller guy. Yeah, I've been okay. So here's the story. Here's how this worked. So I started off with the VIC-20, Commodore 64, all controller-based stuff, right? I moved on to Amiga, and it was still controller-based stuff. Then I went to PC for a brief period of time when Windows 95 came out. I had a Packard Bell P75. And listen, I got caught up in Doom and everything else like everybody else did. And at that point in time, I did play with keyboard and mouse. But that's because, to be honest, PC controllers support sucked monkey butt. Nobody had controller support for anything. And so, at some point, the consoles and the PCs went like this for a while. So, I couldn't afford a better computer, but I could afford a console that was better. That's sort of how I got into 360. PlayStation 1, I did like the PlayStation 1. And I had, most of the Xboxes, except for the last couple. But yeah, so inevitably, I've spent most of my life with controller, right? Very short period of time with the keyboard. I'm a fan of Shinobi stuff. I like it more when it feels like more like Shinobi. Yeah, Steam's making one. Don't worry. Steam's got a Steam box coming, and they're waiting for the right time to strike. I've been trying to get a hold of a B-Link or one of these other, Nooks. But I can't. I'm not putting out $400 or $500 for one. And I can't seem to get them to send me one. So I would really like to look at, one of these, SER8s from B-Link. Honestly, it would kick the Steam Deck's ass in terms of raw performance. And, it'll be better on the TV. I'd probably put SteamOS or Bazite or something on it because, I don't want to use Windows. So, yeah. Trying to think, I thought I had some interesting movie stuff to talk about. I got to write down the new releases because I follow all the movie stuff really close. We're getting Dark City. Finally, we're getting a 4K deluxe OMG kick-ass edition, collector's edition of Dark City. Kiefer Sutherland, Jennifer Connelly, unbelievable movie. And I've talked about it here on the show before. For those of you who go back that far, Dark City, total mindfuck movie. Kiefer Sutherland's great in it. Jennifer Connelly is in her prime, so knowledgeable. I can't actually read that much text while I drive. When I get an opportunity, when I'm sitting at a red light, when I get off, I'll take a look at that big string of text that just popped up in the chat. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Dark City. Yeah, love me some Dark City. So here's a fun story for those of you who weren't part of the equation way back when. So Dark City, I saw at the theater, and my wife and I, my newly married wife and I went to see it. And about 45 minutes in, we almost walked out. I mean, literally, we were looking at each other going, the fuck are we watching? Let's go. Come on. You want to go? Let's go. Come on. But we didn't. We stayed. And of course, 5 minutes later, the movie starts opening up and you're sitting there going, holy shit. And then by the end of the movie, you're going, something like that. So, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to, of course, it's one of those movies where, once you've seen it and you know everything that's going on, now you're just looking for stuff you missed. And then once you've seen all of that, kind of hard to go back. I saw something scroll by about favorite sci-fi movie. I don't know if I could answer that, to be honest with you. I'd have to sit and think about it. I might be able to come up with like a top 10, but the genre is too full of goodies for me to go over. Like, would you consider The Fifth Element? Let's see. Let me scroll it. This might be personal. You're knowledgeable. Consul General. Did you ever go into something more pursued in college related to something like that, or just passion? No. So I never had any formal training for anything computer related. So there were three career paths that I was looking at when I was in high school, my formative years. Computers, of course, were new. Nobody really knew just how far that was going to go. So I probably picked right when I chose that career path. But I also had two other career paths in my pocket. One of them was a lawyer, because in high school I fell in love with Lincoln Douglas debate. I felt I was pretty damn good at it. So I thought, law makes sense to me, to be honest. I mean, I think law would be good. And then, of course, I had the acting bug. So I did plays in high school and college. And I thought that might be a way I wanted to go. Won some awards, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was computers that won, and I was completely self-taught. So I didn't really go to college for anything. I didn't take any courses. I just jumped in. Yeah. So I would say some of my favorite sci-fi movies would be things like Fifth Element. Life Force is one of the ones that I've gone back and watched like 100 times. And it's not just because Matilda May is nude through half the movie, but I enjoy the concept. Listen, I could probably name 100 great science fiction movies. I don't think I could possibly come up with a number one. That's too much. It's too much. It's like asking you what my favorite song is. I got nothing. But yeah, I tend not to like really weird esoteric stuff, but I like stuff that colors outside the lines a little bit. And I specifically, I prefer things that aren't. I typically prefer things that aren't mass hysteria type stuff. Things. What I mean by that is stuff that the public just goes ape shit about. The quickest way to get me not to watch something is to make a big fucking deal about it, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's, everyone's got an opinion about it. I typically don't like things that have a mass following. It turns me off. So, and then of course, eventually maybe I'll see it when all the hysteria dies down. And then, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it. American Beauty was like that. When American Beauty came out, that was like fucking nonsense. Everybody's talking about it. You see it everywhere. It was this big thing, Academy Award winner, this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, fuck it. If everyone likes it, I probably won't. But of course, it turned out to be an amazing movie once I did finally get around to watching it. But it took like 5 or 10 years, I tend to like things with aliens in them, right? Predator, you consider Predator sci-fi? Sure. Predator 2. Yeah, I mean, I'm a movie lover, so it's really hard. If you ask, somebody who doesn't watch a lot of movies what their favorite movie is, easy peasy. It's probably Wicked or some stupid shit like that. But in my case, I got too much. I got too many movies. It'd be really hard for me to pick one. I'm exhausted now. Tired. This phone's really pissing me off. Stay up there. I should put it back up on my visor so I don't have to keep reaching over for it. What if I can just rig a rubber band or something to hold this thing up? Or just get the damn screwdriver. So let's see. I'm trying to think if there's. Oh, our Kylie Minogue tickets are coming up, right? Kylie Minogue is going to be here in Phoenix. For those of you who are longtime watchers of the podcast or listeners of the podcast, you know I'm a huge Kylie Minogue fan. Saw her when she was at residency in Vegas. It was an amazing show, unbelievable. Yes, I'm straight. I'm married to a woman, and I'm not a closet gay. I promise this is true. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. It's in the same place that we saw ELO. So the chairs are a little narrow, but hey, listen, what do you want? Got good seats, not great seats, but good seats. So I'm excited about that. That's coming up on the 19th, so that'll be cool. She released, the set list got released. And of course, she's doing all the stuff I want, so that's great. Let's see. I laid my hands on some CDs recently. Was there something I wanted to talk about there? Got to start keeping better notes. Well, I did go and get my physical, my yearly physical. I went and saw my cardiologist, with the AFib and all that. And I've gained some weight, as you can tell. If you've watched some of my older shows, I've put on some weight. And of course, that fucks up all my lipid panels and glucose and everything. So that's a mess. So my cardiologist said, I want you to do exactly what I tell you and your problems will go away. This guy's very confident. And I said, okay, so what do I have to do? And he says, I want you to intermittently fast. And I'm like, I tried that and it kind of didn't work out for me. And he's like, no, you're going to do the way I tell you to do it. And I'm like, okay. He's like, so you're going to eat twice a day from 12 to 12:30 in the afternoon and from 6 to 6:30 in the evening. Okay. You have 30 minutes. As long as you stick with what I tell you can eat as much of it as you want during that 30 minutes. And that's it. Of course, there's nothing made with flour. So no pies, no pasta, no pizza, nothing that's made with flour. Essentially as many vegetables and berries as I want. So that's what he told me I could have. And he said, if you really, really want to go the distance, if you want to do it right, he said 15 minutes before your meal, so at 11:45 and 5:45, take 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So the properties, the antiseptic properties of apple cider vinegar are things of lore. Not sure I buy into any of it, but he said it does stimulate your stomach acids, so you'll digest better when you do eat, and it tends to make you eat less. So I've been doing shots of apple cider vinegar. Fortunately, today I found out that apple cider vinegar comes in gummies with the taste well hidden. So that's kind of good, because I don't know how long I'll be able to take shots of apple cider vinegar, to be honest with you. But so that's my current game plan. And he says, trust me, you stick with this, you pull this off, and you'll drop 25 pounds in 3 months. And I'm like, I'm skeptical. And he's like, well, I would be too. He said, but a guy, I have another patient just like you, same body type, same everything. He said he followed this to the letter, and he dropped 25 pounds in 3 months. So I've still got a lot more to go after that, but I'll take 3 months. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, so that's the update on that. How much fun is that? I sent my daughter one of my music players. So my daughter and my son, my youngest daughter, my birth daughter, I guess, if you had to make some weird distinction about it, both people that I've passed my genes to are very musically oriented. My son Brian, very musically oriented. My daughter Ksenia, very musically oriented. And she collects vinyl. She's a millennial, right? So she's like 30, 31, 30. Have to do the math. I think she's 31. And so after I've had my recent epiphany of getting a digital audio player and nice headphones and the whole bit, I was talking to my daughter about it. And I said, yeah, you can tell the difference. I mean, it's not that hard. You can tell the difference between streaming audio and, locally played high quality FLAC or music files. She goes, really? And I said, yeah. I mean, people say it's bullshit, but you can tell. You can tell. And I said, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to load up one of these other DAPs that I got that I decided against, and I will send it to you with a bunch of music. I'll send some MP3s, some FLACs, and you can tell for yourself. What do you think of all that, and see what she says. So she's supposed to get it today, so that'll be an interesting story maybe for next week. All right, I'm almost at the house. You guys know I got to get off here before my Wi-Fi kicks in. I'm Shane R. Monroe, Passenger Seat Radio, saying we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.